Hello and welcome back to another episode of the SJR Sports Podcast. I'm joined by Danny Stiggs and Anthony Barton. And today we're going to be talking about the NFL Combine, NFL Draft, and all the recent NFL trade buzz that's been going on in these past couple days. Anthony, I'll start it off with you. What do you think about these recent trade activities going on?
Well, to kick it off with the Debo trade, I think it works out best for both teams. You get rid of this old receiver that you don't really need anymore, who didn't produce as well and was being a bit of a Twitter drama, Twitter diva last year.
I agree.
And then you get him for a fifth-round pick, which I would say is I feel like you could have got more.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of good for both sides because it was definitely not working in San Francisco with Debo. But obviously, you see the upside of what he did a couple of years ago, and you give that to Jaden Daniels.
I think
a lot of the screens.
I think the Commanders are going to use him the same way he was used a couple of years ago. He needs to lose some weight, but I think he's going to be back to a wide back, especially with Austin Eckler fumble issues this year.
I agree. Stiggs, what do you think about the move?
I think it's a great move for both sides. I know, as you said, Twitter diva. I think that's a great job by the Niners getting rid of him. I think that we're going to see a lot more of Ricky Pearsall for them this year, and I think that the Commanders, just bolstering up the receiver room. You already got Terry McLaurin, Yami Brown, now Debo Samuel. So I think that's just incredible right there. Adding another receiver like that. I think, as Debo said, you gotta lose some weight a little bit there. It's
For sure.
a little overweight, but I think that once he does that, he's gonna get in shape and he's gonna be great. Back to Debo.
Well, speaking of the 49ers and Ricky Pearsall, he's going to have a lot of room to shine next year because Brandon Ayuk is also on the trade block.
Speaking of the trade block, of course, Cooper Kupp has been in trade talks for a while now. What do you think the guy could land? I mean, what team do you think he's best fit for?
That's a good question. What team really needs a receiver is the question.
Maybe like the Bengals maybe could use a receiver because I know they got Jamar Chase, and I think that maybe they could use another receiver.
They got T too. So
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe
that would be a Bengals thing to do.
Cooper Kupp is going to land somewhere where they need a quarterback, and they're going to get a veteran receiver to help that young quarterback.
Best and most obvious landing spot for him would be in New England because they have nothing for receivers right now. And I think that to get a guy like Cooper Kupp, who's an older guy who can mentor some of your younger receivers, I think would be very beneficial for them. I think it suits Drake May well that he gets like this number one target that has been efficient in years past.
Help that young quarterback out. He's going somewhere where they're either drafting a quarterback this year or they have a second-year guy or third-year guy.
Spot for him. He will eventually end up.
What about Myles Garrett?
That's very interesting because that's such a big name to take in. It's going to be a lot of money. I don't know who. I think obviously there's teams like the Lions who need a pass rusher and probably are like in the market for that.
I don't know. I feel it's going to be an in-trade division. He's going somewhere in the AFC North.
I don't know. I mean, who else? I mean, the Steelers don't need another edge rusher.
But the Bengals,
Ravens really don't.
the Bengals.
That would probably be
The Bengals.
I'm thinking of two teams. I'm thinking of the Eagles and the Bills. I think those two teams.
I also think the Bills too.
I don't see the
Bills got and Von Miller. I think they're gonna either release him or do whatever with him. I think
he's pretty much done.
a younger, more set guy for that defensive line, and I really think that they'll get to the QB more.
I don't think the Eagles. So with the Eagles,
Eagles did it on defense. Nolan Smith. They looked incredible.
They seem fine.
I think the Eagles are fine.
And now we just watched all these upcoming draft picks. Just been in the combine. Stiggs, let's start with you. Who's the guy that really stood out to you?
To me, it was Jackson Dart. I think he had a pretty good combine. I think he's a pretty impressive quarterback, and I'm hearing even that he could go up to like a top 7 pick in this year's draft. And I think that this year he's gonna get drafted probably late or early second. I don't think he's a first round guy, but he's a pretty good guy.
I agree. I think it's also because I've heard a lot of talk now about Shedeur Sanders essentially falling a lot because not a lot of people have them in the mocks as that number 1 quarterback. So the idea that a guy like Jackson Dart could jump and become more valuable because Shedeur isn't that great, I think is very interesting.
Well, we've seen this every single year now, where all of a sudden we want to boost up this quarterback because he has a flashy arm when he has no pads on. He gets the throws that you want to see in the combine. He'll do it at his pro day as well. Same thing happened with Zach Wilson, bust. Same thing has happened every single year in the draft. It happens every year. Kenny Pickett it happens every year. So Jackson Dart to me is another one of those guys because if you actually put on the game film of him, he's a one read guy. He doesn't make the deep throws. Holds onto the ball. He's a screen merchant because that's how they played him. So when it comes to in game, that's not running a real NFL pro style offense like these other schools. Like you see, like Georgia, they run a pro style offense. Alabama, everybody else in the SEC runs a pro style offense. While you have Lane Kiffin running an offense you would see back in the early 2000s where you're throwing screen passes, not getting the ball out. To me, I think Shedeur Sanders is the better quarterback. Cam Ward is also the better quarterback. And for me as well, someone who I'd rather have over Jackson Dart is Jalen Milroe, because if you put him with the right coaching staff, if you put him with the right coaching staff, he has a better arm than Jackson Dart, 100%. Jackson Dart does have the better accuracy, but to me, Jackson Dart has reached he's near his potential. Jalen Milroe used to have all that potential. Because look at a guy like Lamar a couple years ago. Everybody was saying that it was the same thing. And Jalen Milroe has all that potential.
Lamar, I think Jalen Miller is Joe Milton. I think that he's a great athlete, but I don't think that he's been able to put it together in the same way that someone like Lamar has been. I think he's so like he has unmatched potential, especially compared to all the other quarterbacks in this draft. But I just don't know if he can hang with the players in the NFL. I think that he's so far from being an elite quarterback. He's a great athlete, but I don't know if that'll
I'm
get
not
him
saying
a
he's
spot.
an elite quarterback. I'm not even saying he'll start year one. You can sit him behind a guy like a Matthew Stafford or something to help him with the fundamentals of the throwing and get it down better. Because we all know he has the rushing ability down packed already. It just comes down to the accuracy now. Because we all know he has the arm power because he displayed it at the combine and launching the ball countless times. So it just comes down to hitting the mark on most of his throws now.
I actually have two guys who I really liked from this year's combine, and the first one is Matthew Golden, who
Showed out in the playoffs
I mean,
as well.
really showed out. And I think he's got a shot to be the wide receiver one going to this draft with how shaky all these other wide receivers are. And I really like the way he handled it because his teammate Isaiah Bond was talking about how, I'm going to just smash the record that his teammates set last year.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling good, I might run a 4.1. And Matthew Golden went in and ran way better looked better in almost every drill. And I think that with this combine performance, he has a shot to really up his draft stock because there's a lot of teams like the Patriots,
It's pro day as well.
that need a real receiver. I think that he could be sort of like that speedster.
And he displayed it in the playoffs as well, especially and later in the season because Isaiah Bond, his teammate, got hurt, and who had to step up? Matthew Golden.
Also, something to say about how when that Texas team needed to play, they went to him.
Matthew Golden.
So I think that's definitely going to stand out in the eyes of a lot of coaches. And the last guy I want to talk about is Nika Manowari. I believe that's how you say his name. I mean, he had an alien combine. Guy's like 6'3". I'll double check his stats here. He's 6'3", 220 pounds, and he ran a 4.38.
Yeah, no,
He had a 1.49 10-yard split. He had a 43-inch vertical jump, 11-foot 6-inch broad jump. I mean, he tested like an absolute alien. He doesn't even look like he's human. He had 20 reps on the bench press. I mean, this guy's got everything. He reminds me a lot of like a Derwin James, Cam Chancellor, just all around crazy athlete. I think that this combine.
No, he's a great athlete, especially if you watched him in college. He's one of
this has definitely been huge for him because I think he's flying a little bit under the radar. But I think he could potentially be a first-round pick because of this.
You know who else? Someone I think that people should talk about more. Jack Beck out of TCU. I think he's about like 6'3", 6'4", somewhere in that range. He has good hands, pretty good route running. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, I agree. I think Jack Beck flew way under the radar this year.
I think he's gonna be. I think Jack Beck. I think we'd see like a second round pick in him. He looks like a pretty good. This receiver class for
he's
the
a
second.
physical receiver
Yeah.
too.
He does not seem like obviously like receiver one compared to the other guys, but he's been pretty flying under the radar, and he really showed out in the Senior Bowl. If you really watched
Yeah,
that, he did really
for
good.
sure, for sure.
He won a catch there.
It's funny how you mentioned Senior Bowl when we talk about quarterbacks as well. All the quarterbacks struggle at the Senior Bowl.
Jalen Waddle's hand size exploded though.
Yeah.
One guy actually that I think a lot of people woke up to in the Senior Bowl, a guy I've had my eyes on a lot, Mike Green out of Marshall. I like him a lot. A lot of guys will say
Fast, explosive.
he's fast, he's crazy explosive off the ball. He knows how to handle himself against any competition. Led the college football in sacks last year. And a lot of people will say, well, yeah, he's playing Sun Belt
He played Ohio
competition.
State.
But he played Ohio State. He got a sack against Ohio State. I mean, he looks out of this world. And the fact that he's looking like he might fall to a late first rounder, that a team like the Lions or a team like the Chiefs could scoop him up, I think he could become a real legit pass rusher.
Yeah.
The Lions could use him, especially to prepare him with Aiden Hutchinson. That would be huge.
Yeah, totally agree. I think that he's going to be a late first rounder, and I think that's going to be a mistake for those early round teams to him fall to one of those better teams in the late
You know
first
what
round.
I've seen getting some criticism now? Jack Sawyer saying that he's undersized to play.
Listen, man, you can say undersized all you want. You watch those college
You
football
know,
games.
I'm not saying
know,
it. I'm saying that's what people are saying,
He was outstanding. I mean,
which I thought it was insane to me because he's bigger than Abdul Carter, like height wise and body weight wise. So I was like, you can make the same argument for Abdul Carter because
but
they're both.
obviously, Abdul Carter, I feel like he's a better pass rusher, but
I want to pose one last question. Who do you think the top 3 picks are going to be? How do you think the draft shakes out?
So no trades, like Tennessee stays number 1.
Yeah. I think that's what will happen.
Cam Ward's going 1.
Really?
Yes. Undoubtedly. If Tennessee stays 1, Cam Ward's going 1. Without a doubt in my mind. They say they're going to trust, they're not trusting Will Levis. The guy barely put up 1,000 passing yards this year. Come on.
that's true.
So they're going Cam Ward. They need a quarterback. That's what was really holding them back this year as well, a quarterback. The second, if I'm the Browns, Deshaun Watson, he's missing the whole year because he re-tore his meniscus. So I think they're going to go Shadur Sanders realistically for a quarterback. Because even them last year were a quarterback away, and they're releasing Jameis Winston, so they have no one to fall back on besides Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So that leaves one quarterback in your debt room right now. So now you can pick up a guy like Shadur Sanders. Now you have 2 quarterbacks where you can see battle it out, right? And then the third pick is who? The Giants, right? Yeah. They're probably going to draft Travis Hunter, realistically.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't want them to draft Travis Hunter because I feel like he's a guy that, we could use him, but that's not one of the main positions we need. Like, if we need a quarterback or another tackle, like someone that's really going to help us, but those would be my
I actually think at the 1, I think it's pretty clear that I think the Titans will go Travis Hunter, but I've heard a lot about Abdul Carter potentially going there.
I've heard
And
that too.
I think it's going to be between those 2. I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback right now. I think that the Browns pick is really interesting because I don't know what kind of direction they're going to go. I don't know if they're going to draft a quarterback. I don't know what's going to happen with Myles Garrett because that could definitely shake some things up.
Oh, no.
They
said Myles Garrett said that he's not going back to Cleveland no matter what. They try to get a deal. He said no matter what. He's not going.
Because, I mean, if they end up trading Myles Garrett, then I feel like that opens up a spot for Abdul Carter. But
on the other hand,
again, they need the quarterback. I don't know who they'll go. I think the best thing for the Giants, however, I think they need Cam Ward. I think that's what they should do. I think they should be aggressively pursuing him because it's win now for this team. There's no more years left. Like, Dable and Show need to win right now. And I think Cam Ward gives them the best shot. I like his athleticism. I like his arm.
He could be RJ Daniels.
I mean, you saw what Daboll did with Josh Allen. I think he could do the exact same thing to Cam Ward. And I think that if he does get a healthy season and a full season with Daboll, I think he will be like a Jalen Daniels. I think he can change that for him.
I think first overall, Will Levis is not an NFL quarterback. He's not a starter. That's going to be 100% Cam Ward. Number 2, I think Myles Garrett's 100% getting traded. They say, oh, we're not going to trade him. They're going to trade him. Eventually, they're going to trade him. Abdul Carter's going 2. 3, tough pick here, but I think Giants are gonna go Travis Hunter. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't have much choice there. Pick the best.
Maybe you can get Travis Hunter at 3. That's a pretty
Yeah,
good deal.
yeah.
All right, and that is going to be all for today's episode of the SJR Sports Podcast. Thank you for watching, and we hope you come back next time.